All right, we're working through our competitive landscape analysis, and I think there's, again, the research that we're doing is showing that we don't have any direct competitors. So that's exciting. That if we do this right, then we should have a pretty good chunk of the market as people start to realize the need. There's a need there that everybody we talk to is saying, "Oh my goodness, yes, that would be so helpful," but there's nobody who's doing what we're doing. And as we look at can people fast follow using AI or something like that, we're also finding that's not really the case, even though theoretically people are like, oh, you could just have AI build that app. You could, but it's not going to be great. But I think overall, Patricia and I are working super well together. We did spend some time over the weekend just digging into numbers, where I was excited how Patricia had internalized so much of that data, that information already, because I know that at some point somebody's going to throw her a question and she's going to have those numbers off the top of her head. And I think that will be a super powerful statement at the time. So I'm excited about where we are. I think we're still moving in a really good direction and continue to lean in on the company.
Delightful. It was so pleasant. It was thought-provoking because we had to make some decisions on what we thought the capacity of the stadiums were and whether or not to include NASCAR stadiums, because we hadn't really thought about that. Just some good talk about, and then the number of pilots. We start with 2 or 3, actually, thought, because we thought, why don't we add one that's in a place where we know a lot of people, North Carolina. So why not Panther Stadium? We've actually queried AI, Gemini, because a friend of ours helped us do this, but looked at, could AI make an app? And all it said, the directions were basically the path of the sun over the coordinates of a stadium from 8 a.m. or 6 a.m., whatever sunrise and sunset were. And it could not figure out how to do that, a time lapse. It could not figure out time lapse.
Okay, so working further on our pitch deck and getting excited about how the story is going to evolve. And I think we both see, we can both visualize the pitch deck evolving and being in front of a crowd and talking about, hey, here's why you're going to give us some $500,000, why you want to give us, because there's no reason you wouldn't want to give us $500,000 for sure. We continue to work really well together. I think Patricia and I do. And with Christian, I think as we get to that inflection point of now the deck is done and now we have to go start pitching, that's going to be a little bit scarier, because right now it's all kind of theoretical. But we're starting to think about it, and I think Christian is preparing us well to consider, okay, what is this going to look like? Making sure we understand we're going to have it down, we're going to have to memorize, we're going to have to be ready with all of our numbers and questions and stuff. So again, it's an exciting process, an exciting experience, and yeah, a little bit like going back to school. So it's been fun to experience that too. What are you thinking?
I'm feeling good about the homework that Christopher and I completed over the weekend. We looked at our financials and looked at the TAM, the SAM, the SOM, the return on investment, and spent a lot of time on the SOM. And I think we made some good progress in conceptualizing what our financials need to be, where we're coming from as far as participants, as far as how to measure the stadiums. And we found out that there are a number of NASCAR stadiums, I don't know how many in North America, but they're up to 200,000 person capacity. And so we removed those from the mix because most stadiums in the United States are anywhere from 60 to 80,000 capacity. So we used the number 30,000 in our calculations. That was the one major decision that we made on that.
How are you feeling about going into this week?
I feel like I still have the same energy that I had in the beginning. I know it's only been week 3, but my energy's still really high. I'm really still very excited. I still keep thinking about ideas for the company and for the future, and that's very stimulating to me. I enjoy thinking about those things. Christopher and I are doing great. We talked about the business. We did well in the homework yesterday, and we actively talk about the business, which is fun for me. I hope it's as fun for him.
How are you feeling about chasing shade?
I'm feeling even more markedly positive about chasing shade. I feel like we have some direction. We're getting some really good work done in the planning and how to talk to investors and what to prepare for. So I am very positive. It's great.
Tell me one thing over this last session that you learned that kind of sticks in your brain.
I'm so bad at this. Between my ADHD and anxiety, my memory sucks or in the moment. I have to look at my notes for a second. We went over the financials a lot today, and we went over what we did for homework. And we regrouped and talked about 8 stadiums instead of 15 for year 2, et cetera. That we spent a while doing that. And then we looked at the competitive landscape. And I'm trying to remember exactly what the points were. Of
Yeah, the feature matrix.
The feature matrix, that's right. The indirect versus the indirect versus direct competitor table we worked on. What else should I say?
No, that's just whatever's on your mind. We are dragging. We had a late night and an early morning for all the right reasons, some good fun that we had. But working on the go-to-market strategy and then also going through features and differentiators. And there was new information for me specifically on that. I hadn't really thought as much about that. And so I'm excited about taking that to the next step and doing the homework we've talked about, which is working on that go-to-market strategy and how do we take the right steps and how do we time things as we look at our go-to-market versus our investments. I think the way that Christian's pulled it together, again, I still feel the structure is what we need to be able to push this forward and have a successful company. So excited about that. Will be lots of fun.
We're just about to meet with Christian, and as far as reflections on how this is going, I think what's striking me is the fact that I'm taking essentially a business course or a course on how to develop entrepreneurial skills and business skills and financial skills and go-to-market strategies and all that. I didn't know I'd be doing that at this point in my life. And it's very interesting, but it's a lot. But we forge forward.